Okay. Our next topic is the ex situ conservation. Now we are studying the types of conservation, and in this type of conservation, firstly we have studied the in situ type of the conservation, which is the very natural type of the conservation in which we try to conserve the species in their natural habitat. Right? In the last video, we have discussed this, and this video is already available. Now, in the second lecture, we are going to consider the second type of the conservation, which is called as the ex situ type of conservation, which is the conservation of a species at the very artificial place. Okay, so in situ conservation and the ex situ conservation, these are the two types of biodiversity conservation. And in this particular video, we are going to only focus on the ex situ type of the conservation. Now consider this is your syllabus. We are dealing with the paper number 2 and the chapter number 5, that is ecology and the plant geography. And we are here at the conservation. Okay. Now let us consider the first slide. See, the ex situ conservation literally means the off-site conservation. Now, why we use this word particular off-site for this conservation? Because if the species is growing in their natural habitat and it is threatened by the some ways, okay, that it is going to extinct soon, or it is the endangered species, or this particular species is of critically importance to the humans, and if this species has some great medicinal value, then we take out this particular plant species from their natural habitat and place them into the artificial habitat, for example, the botanical garden. Right, botanical garden is completely under the human control, and we selectively take the species from their native habitat and we place them into the botanical garden. As you can see in this particular picture, this is an botanical garden, and in this way particular botanical garden, many plant species are growing. So if we find a species which may be the endangered species, okay, that is soon going to extinct, okay, then there are the rare types of the species, then there are the endemic type of the species, then there is a critically important species from the medicine point of view, right? Then cropland species are there if you want to conserve the germplasm or or their seeds. So if these are all these plants find threatening in their natural habitat, we can take these plants and place them artificially under the human surveillance so that we can save that particular species. And hence we are trying to take the species from their native land to the artificial land, and hence we use the word off-site conservation. Okay, that is not on the side but off the site conservation we are doing here, and that is why ex situ conservation is also called as the off-site type of the conservation. Now it is the process of protecting the endangered plant species of the plants or animal by removing of their population from the threatened habitat, right, and placing them into the new location. That is, if their habitat is threatened, okay, wherever they are naturally growing, if in their natural habitat the threatening has occurred, then we should take out these plant species and safely place them to the new location. Okay, we have to transfer them to the new location so that they could survive. As you know, due to the high population rates in the world, we are continuously doing the process of deforestation. And due to the deforestation, what is happening? The forests are disappearing. Now, whatever the plant species which are present in that forest, with the deforestation, they were also getting extinct. Now, the very basic reason behind this deforestation are the human activities. It is totally an anthropogenic activities which are responsible for the cutting of the forest. So, these forests which are harboring the many plant species, and many are the critically important to the humans medicinally or ethnobotanically, then in such a case we should take the plant species out of this such a threatened habitat, and we should place them into the new location in which there should be the safety for the life of that particular plant species, right, which may be in the wild area or within the care of the humans. Okay, so basically here we are using the word wild area or under the care of humans because the government can announce the area as a national, but this national parks comes under the in situ type of conservation. But still, by using the national parks, we can say we can conserve the species naturally in the in situ way. Okay, but when we talk about the ex situ, we deliberately have to take that species from that threatened habitat, and we should place them into the natural habitat where there will be the no threatening to this particular plant species. Okay, and of course it should be under the care of humans. Okay, now this ex situ conservation using the sample population is done through the establishment of the gene banks. Okay, then which includes the genetic resource centers, then the zoos, different types of the botanical gardens, and the culture collections. Okay, all these are the examples of the ex situ type of conservation. Just like in the in situ type of conservation, we give the example of a national park, then biosphere reserves, right? Or these are the natural type of the conservation methods, and hence they comes under the in situ type of conservation. On the similar lines, when we talk about the ex situ type of conservation, we will give the examples like the gene banks, because in the gene banks we will artificially conserve their genes. Okay, then we have the different types of the seed banks, and in the seed banks we are going to conserve the seeds of the different plant. Then we have the botanical gardens. Okay, these botanical gardens will harbor the many endangered endemic plant species, and which can be safely grow there. Okay, if their natural habitat is threatened. Then there are also the culture centers as well. Now here one example is given for the zoos as well, but it is primarily related with the plant animals. Okay, because whatever the threatened animals are there, we can place them into the zoos. But as we are going for the botany topics, hence you should use the botanical examples only. For example, you can put forward the example of a gene banks, you can put forward the example of a genetic resource, then you can put forward the example of a botanical gardens. Okay, because this type of the examples will be very suitable from the answer writing point of view in the mains. Now, what are the different aims of this ex situ type of conservation? Okay, why we are aiming this? Okay, the very first is to rescue the threatened germplasm. Now, if you see, for example, the species A is there. This species A is endemic species, and it's also a threatened species. That is, it is listed in the endangered species in the red data book. And for example, only the 100 plants are survived for this particular plant species A. Now, this A species possess some kind of the genes. Okay, and the collection of genes is called as the germplasm. Okay, the whole of the genes are present in their germplasm. And if these 100 species which are only remaining in the world, if they got extinct, what will happen? The germplasm, whatever the genes were there within this particular species, these genes will also get disappear from the mother earth. Now, majority of them may be very useful for the humankind. Then in such a case, we should conserve these particular plants so that we can conserve their germplasm. If we conserve, if we are able to rescue the germplasm of any plant, we can regrow that plant at any point of time. So the basic first aim of the ex situ type of conservation is to conserve the germplasm. Okay, then in the second, to produce the material for the conservation of a biological research. For example, if there were the threatened species in the wild, and without any rules and regulation, if we allowed the collection of these plant species from the wild, the research or the scientific work itself will be responsible for making extension of this particular species. So in a similar, so to solve this problem, we have the ex situ type of conservation, in which if you want to do the research or a scientific work on the endangered plant, then you should contact the ex situ type of conservation authorities, and they will provide you this material for the scientific studies. Okay, you should not go directly into the wild and collect this material, because they were already threatened plants. Okay, their number is already very low. In such a case, you should contact only to the ex situ type of conservation methods agencies, and there you will get the material regarding these plants. Okay, so this ex situ type of conservation will also provide the material for the conservation biology research. Okay, if you go, for example, if you go to the botanical garden, there you will find many endangered plant, and you can collect material from there for the research. Okay, botanical garden will surely provide you this type of material. Okay, which are entirely endangered, right? Now, in the third aim, bulk up the germplasm for the storage of the various forms of the ex situ facility. For example, we can collect the germplasm and we can store them in the ex situ facility, and this germplasm is only get survived because of the ex situ conservation. Then the supply material for the various purposes to reduce the pressure from the wild collection, right? We have just discussed this, that if you going to collect the plant species from the wild, you are going to add extra pressure on that particular plant species, because it is already threatened, the number is already very low. And still then, if you are collecting them from the wild, it will really create the pressure of extinction on that particular plant species. So it is very better to have the ex situ type of conservation methods, and these methods should provide you the endangered plant species material. Okay, so that this pressure will not get created. Then the grow out those species with the seeds that cannot be maintained in the seed stores. Okay, for example, if the seeds cannot be maintained in a seed store, then we should go for the ex situ conservation and create the plantlets in the botanical garden, for example. Okay, under the controlled conditions, so that their number will be maintained. Okay, there are many plant species in which the seeds are not much viable even in a seed store or in the seed bank. Then in such a case, we should constantly propagate these plants under the controlled conditions, that is in the botanical gardens or anywhere else in which the human intervention is there. So we can actually, this is also one of the aim of the ex situ conservation, that if the seeds are not viable, we should still be able to maintain the number of that plant into the wild. Okay, now see, it make available the material of the conservation for the education and the display. Okay, see the sixth aim of this X2 type of conservation. When we talk about the botanical garden, in the botanical garden, the whatever the material which is critically endangered, it can be used for the education purpose and for the display purpose for the general public as well. Okay, so for the scientific botanical student, we should provide them education regarding these particular plant species, and we should also display this for a general public as well. Then the seventh aim of the X2 conservation is to produce the material for the reintroduction. For example, if the species B is there and this species B number in the wild is only 50, then what should we do? We should take some of the plant, for example, 5 plants into the botanical garden, and in the by using these 5 plants, we should create the many plants out of it. For example, we have created 1,000 plants, and then we should reintroduce. Okay, what we should do? We should reintroduce these plants in the wild. And how we can increase the number of these plants? So we can use the plant tissue culture technique. Okay, artificially we can create the many plant within the very short period of time in the plant tissue culture laboratory. We have studied this plant tissue culture technique in the fifth unit in very detail, right? So by using the plant tissue culture techniques, we can create the thousands of the plants within a very short period of time. And once you create these 1,000 plants, you should reintroduce them into the wild so that their number will always be maintained high. So for this species B, we can actually increase the number in the wild by having the X2 type of the conservation. Okay, then we can also reinforce it. Habitat restore, we can do the habitat restoration as well, and we can carefully manage this particular plant species. Okay, so all of these are the X2 type of conservation's aim, right? Now see, what are the different types of the methods in which we are using for the X2 type of conservation. See, the very first is the gene banks. Okay, now as it says the banks, okay, it's a bank of a gene. These are the gene banks. See, it stores, maintain, and reproduce the living sample of the world's huge diversity of the crop varieties and their wild relatives. Okay, so mainly the crop varieties and their wild relatives germplasm is stored in these banks, and hence these are famously called as the gene banks. Okay, what they are conserving? They are conserving the genetic samples. Okay, and most importantly, we have to conserve our crop plants, because if the crop plants get extinct, this will largely hit the population of the world, and that is why the first preference were given to the crop plants and their wild relatives, and we should first conserve their genes in the gene bank. So gene bank is an artificial type of technique in which we are conserving the genes. That is why it comes under the X2 type of the conservation. Okay, now see, it is not only to conserve and regenerate the genetic resource, but the gene banks first must collect the genetic resource. Okay, now to conserve, now what is the procedure? See, to conserve or regenerate the genetic resource, first the gene bank must collect their genetic resources. That is, whatever the genetic resources which is present within the plant, these genetic resources first should get collected. Okay, that is, you should go to the crop plant, or you should go to its wild relatives, and you should collect the plant material, and from this plant material you can extract the genetic resource. Now gene banks not only just built to conserve the genetic resource only. Okay, now what else they do? See, they are intended to ensure that these resources are used, whether it is in the farmer's field or in the breeding programs or in a research institution. So whatever the genetic resource is collected by the gene bank, it is not only for the storage, or it is not only for the conservation, but they should provide them to the farmers. Okay, in the farmer's field, they should provide this material for the breeding programs, the plant breeding programs, and then they should also provide this material for the research institution to do the research on these particular genes. Okay, so gene banks are a very special types of the X2 type of conservation methods in which we collect the genes from the wild or the crop plant, and we store these genes. Okay, and we can regenerate this genetic resource and provide them to the farmers, to the breeders, and for the research institutions. Okay, so carefully remember, the one method which is used for the X2 type of conservation is the gene banks, and these examples will be very important from the UPSC mains point of view, because there this type of the examples will be very important to justify your answer. Okay, now consider the second method, which is called as the seed banks. Okay, now this time we are dealing with the seeds, not with the genes, and now this time the banks deals with the seeds. So seed banks actually conserve the genes also, because within these seeds you will also find the presence of the genetic material. So germplasm conservation in the form of seed is the most convenient, since the seed occupies a relatively very small space. Okay, so instead of conserving the whole plant, okay, the whole plant will have the more and more space, right? Instead of conserving this whole plant, we should go for the seeds. Seeds are very small and they require a very small space. So this is a very convenient type of the conservation. Okay, seed banks are very simple. Just you have to collect the seed and you have to store the seeds under the appropriate temperature and the pressure condition so that they can live for the thousands of years. Okay, of course it is not applicable for the every kind of seed, but majority of the seeds can be saved or can be stored by using this particular technique. Okay, so that's why we are saying it's the most convenient technique. Okay, say seed banks are require very small space and we can collect the seeds of all the plants throughout the world and we can try to conserve them in the seed banks. Okay, now their transport and their various introduction center and the gene banks is also very economical, right? We can transport the seeds very easily. We can introduce their introduction center are easily placed, and the gene banks were also very economical. So not much of the money is required to save the majority of the plant species. So simply what we can do, we can take the seeds from all the plants and we can place them within the seed bank so that they can be remain there for the few hundreds of years or even thousands of years. It will all depend on which plant species we are talking about. Okay, now the many international organizations were involved in this type of practices. Okay, now see, there were the International Plant Genetic Resource Institute, right? Then the Food and Agricultural Organizations of the United States. All these types of the organizations were actually involved in the seed banks or the conservation of the plant species through the seeds. Okay, so the second type of the method which is used in the ex situ type of conservation can be the seed banks. Okay, these are seed banks can be very useful in protecting the all the plant species on the mother earth in a relatively very short area with a very economical sense. Okay, that is the way. Not much amount of the money is required to do this particular process. Now whenever we talk about at the germplasm level, the huge machineries are required, but whenever we talk about the seeds only, the seeds are very economical and very easy to storage and very easy to conserve. Okay, now please remember these international organizations as well so that you can decorate your answer in the mains. Okay, so we have studied the three ways of ex situ conservation. The very first is the botanical garden. Okay, the very first example for the ex situ type of conservation is the botanical garden. Then the second example for this is the gene bank. Okay, gene bank is the another method which is useful for the ex situ type of conservation. Then the third one is the seed bank. Okay, so all these three examples can be put forward in the mains to decorate or to justify your answer. Okay, all these three methods will be very important when mentioning in the ex situ conservation. Then and only then this answer will look complete. Okay, now consider what are the advantages of this ex situ type of conservation. Now see, generally prefer to conserve the threatened plant species in the in situ. Okay, what we do, generally we try to conserve the plant species in the in situ only. Now why in situ? Because in the natural habitat it is very easy to conserve the plant species. Okay, because natural habitat will always be very dynamic, and because all of the evolutionary processes are more likely to remain dynamic in the natural resources, natural habitat, because this particular natural habitat will provide all the necessary requirements of the environment to this particular plant species. But still then, why we are going for the ex situ type of conservation? Because there is a considering the rate of the habitat loss worldwide, we have to go for the ex situ type of conservation, because due to the habitat loss we cannot apply the methods of the in situ conservation, and that is why we have to apply the methods of the ex situ conservation. Okay, where there is a habitat loss and species are going to lose, there surely we should go for the ex situ type of conservation. Before deforestation we should collect all the important species, or we can say all the plant species which are present in that particular area and place them into the secure area in the botanical gardens, in the seed banks, in the gene banks. Okay, so here's the in situ type of the cultivation becoming increasingly very important. Okay, this is the basic reason why we are going for the ex situ type of conservation instead of in situ type of conservation, and the reason is the worldwide habitat loss. Okay, now many of the tags are located outside the natural parks or the reserve. In situ measures are not enough for their conservation. For example, government can declare the any area as a national park. Okay, and can conserve all the species present there naturally. Same can we do for the biosphere reserve as well. Okay, for the biosphere reserve as well we can do such a thing, but not the every area can be declared as a national park or the biosphere reserve. There are many plant species which are present on the outside of the biosphere reserves or the national park, and government cannot declare this area as a national park or the biosphere reserve. Then in such a case the only way we have is through the ex situ type of conservation. Hence the translocation type of methods, introduction methods, reintroduction methods, assisted migration of the species, conservation strategies, all these methods were adapted for the conserving these particular plant species from getting extinct. Okay, that is why ex situ conservation is more favorable nowadays than the in situ conservation, because in situ methods cannot be applied everywhere. Okay, so this is how we can do the ex. So this is all about this topic. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video. Please like this video, share this video with your friends who are studying the botany, and if you haven't subscribed to the Botany Capsule channel yet, please subscribe to the Botany Capsule channel for UPSC examination. Again, thank you very much for giving your time. See you in the next video lecture. Thank you.